Lipstick of the Brave was really lovely. The lyrics tell such a rich story, and the performance was beautiful. And I don't know if I'm off the mark here, but the title Lipstick of the Brave reminded me of the phrase Home of the Brave. That combined with the red, blue, and white that we saw consistently throughout the piece, it seemed to be making this really quiet statement that people who identify and live as non binary are just as American as those who do not. That was my take from it, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
The visuals are very unique to the song. The level of animation and the drawings, it just coherently tells the story of what the song is singing. And I always love when a music video does something like this because it brings you into more than just a song. It tells a story within the song and the visuals, and that was truly appreciative for me. I really love this film.
And the way it was colored in looked like it could have been crayon or colored pencil. And so then I was thinking about drawing as a child, and this song, the artist focuses a lot on others who influenced him artistically as a child. And I think that that's the powerful part of this piece, is to acknowledge the impact that other individuals in our community or other artists can have on us as we grow up, and how they can really help to give us permission to be fully ourselves and to shape who we are.
Yeah, beautifully executed song, beautifully sung, beautifully produced. Love the music, love every aspect of the production of it. Beautiful message. The animation was great. Bill Plympton, and yeah, just I've been seeing his work for years and just absolutely love it. The animation really illustrated the song beautifully and brought the story out.
Of course, Bill Plympton is a great animation artist, so it's just a joy to see this short animated film that is scored by just such a great song, really powerful lyrics. Just the whole thing just swept me away. I loved it.
First of all, the song was just so beautiful and told a really amazing story. And the art was just something like I've never seen before. And I just loved the way it all kind of like flowed into each other and just created this really intriguing story that I didn't want to take my eyes off of.
This was a really moving piece. The message there is pretty clear, and the animation is really eye-catching. It does kind of draw you in. I enjoy all sorts of styles of animations, and this one's no exception. So yeah, all in all, definitely a worthy one of checking out.
So there you have audience feedback for viewers of Lipstick of the Brave, a short by executive producer and singer-songwriter Madstone Rowan of Tripping Jupiter. And also with us today is producer Barb Morrison. So thank you both for joining us.
Thank you, Philip.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Well, I just have to say, as many of those people did an even better job than I ever would of just expressing just how moving and touching and wonderful this piece of art is. I mean, I just think it's not only, it's this wonderful combination of music and theme, and then the illustration just adds to it, and it's just a stunning work. And I just think kudos to you all, and I'm just glad and honored that we're bringing out to festivals like ours and others out there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I mean, it's an incredible, brave step. I mean, right in the phrase there, that it's unfortunate, but it is true that for this effort that people who want to put themselves out there, whether it is non-binary or gender fluid or just drag in general, there's this stigma and effort that they have to go through to be brave through it. And you're sharing your story through that from when you were a kid, and being inspired by these other icons to feel comfortable in what you wanted to do. And I just think, again, would love to have you maybe share some more of that part of the story.
Yeah. And one thing I'll just So the song never would have been written if I hadn't met and worked with Barb Morrison, because we met before we even decided to do a record. We were meeting once weekly on Zoom for Music Mentor, and I was just trying to figure out the recording program on my Mac called Logic. And I was actually doing a project for some band I had been in previously. And I said, well, maybe I want to do some writing too, maybe. And within a few weeks, the songs just started pouring out.
Sure.
And I remember just saying to Barb, I think I have an album in me. And of course, the consummate professional Barb's like, let's take it one song at a time. Let's see what you got. One of my assignments, one of my homework, and this has to do with Lipstick, was I was very excited. We had recorded some rough demos, rough mixes of a few songs that I had started writing. Like I said, the songs just started pouring out of me. I was very happy with them. And I would listen to them late at night with my eyes closed, kind of visioning myself performing them live in front of an audience. And I had the brainstorm that I was going to open my set with a cover, science fiction double feature by Rocky Horror. And I thought, this is my most brilliant idea yet. And I said that to Barb during our mentor session, and Barb said no. I said, what do you mean now? And they said, you're going to write your own science fiction double feature. And I thought, I got mad. I was like, no, you can't tell me that. But listen, later that night, I thought, what did Richard O'Brien try to do in that song? He wrote about the things that were important to him growing up, those science fiction movies. I said, what impacted me? And right out of the, very, very quickly came to me, it was those artists that pushed the gender boundaries that stood out to me, whether it was Tim Curry as an actor in Rocky Horror, David Bowie, Lou Reed, but also I think about like some of the artists from the past, dozen years that have been global artists. Lady Gaga was another one who really pushed gender boundaries, and the song then wrote itself. So it was magical the way it happened. And are we allowed to use colorful language here?
Whatever you'd like.
So once I sent the demo to Barb, at 4:30 in the morning, I get an email back saying, "Motherfucker, you made me cry." So, Barb, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I love that story.
Well,
so yeah, Barb, if you could add your
know,
context to it.
like Madstone had said, we started off with just a couple songs. Madstone was in the middle of like working on a project for another band and then sent me some originals. The first original, I was like, this is a really cool song.
Right.
And then like the second original, I was like, wait a minute, this person's a really good songwriter. And then it was, time for me to push them further.
I think that's one. I mean, like we all need that in our lives, especially if you don't see or have the confidence in yourself that maybe someone else sees that brilliance, and the person needs to kick you in the butt. And I just think that's a great element to this story. Yeah.
And what came back was like tenfold of what I expected. And then let me tell you, Philip, the next couple of songs just like blew my head off. I mean, it was just amazing, the transformation in the songwriting that happened after Lipstick of the Brave. Lipstick of the Brave felt like it was this beautiful, Sistine Chapel, and then all of a sudden these other songs just rolled out that were just absolutely gorgeous. So we didn't want to cut any corners on all of it. We were like, we want to go big on everything.
Absolutely. And I guess, and for the audience, if you don't mind, Barb, just to give some context here, you've been producer for Debbie Harry of Blondie, and also like Rufus Wainwright and Franz Ferdinand, like some other big names. So like you're also coming at this with a tremendous amount of credibility and experience. And so to spot that brilliance and that talent is coming from a place of, it's not your first time around. So that's an element of huge compliment to Madstone, but also, again, for the audience to know, this is somebody who really knows what they're talking about.
And I wouldn't have used the words Sistine Chapel if I didn't think it was like a big a big piece of art that
Sure.
Madstone was kicking out there,
Absolutely.
and a very, very important piece of art that we need now more than ever.
Yeah, you're so right about that. I mean, like, it's so frustrating that, you feel like you made progress and then you go backward. And it's just like, how could we be in this spot now after all these years in so many different ways? And it's
Well,
just,
if I
yeah,
could just add to that, like
yeah.
when I decided that my persona artistically was going to reflect my embracing the divine feminine inside of me and reflect that visually through the way I dress, the makeup I wear.
Mm-hmm.
Drag was not controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Drag was mainstream. I mean, it still is, but it wasn't controversial. Nobody was complaining about it. I'm not saying people who were in the queer community weren't struggling, because that's always been an issue.
Of course.
But for the mainstream, it wasn't considered controversial. And I won't say mundane, but it was fairly mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, shit hit the fan. And,
Yep.
my thing was, okay, well, it's more important than ever that we get this message out.
Yes.
Because there's a 13-year-old kid out there
Oh, absolutely.
who doesn't know what to do and if they should continue living. And
Mm-hmm.
they need to see themselves out there.
Yes.
And they need people to be brave until they can be brave.
Yes.
And we can be brave together. So it became more of a message and not just an expression of how I felt inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm happy with the video. And well, this short film, I mean, I knew it had to have a special treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just want to do a quote unquote music video. I wanted it to be a short film. And I've always been a fan of Bill Plympton.
Yeah.
Who's a quirky, he's like 76 and still draws everything by hand.
Yep.
And I just thought, who am I? Who am I to reach
Mm-hmm.
out to Bill Plympton? Well, I'm me.
Mm-hmm.
And I found his email address and I wrote him. I said, I'm an independent artist.
Yep.
And his response was, I'll consider working. Let's hear the song.
Sure.
And he called me the next day and said, I love it. So, the process with Barb brought it out.
Yep.
It was in here, and then it got out here. And then we brought on Bill to do this beautiful, beautiful animation and send a message out to the world that,
Yep.
hey, it's okay.
Yeah, I think, like you said, and there's this phrase that always sticks with me, is that representation matters. So until you see yourself in what you want to be, whether it's how you dress or in what your career you want to be, or in some elevated position in politics, whatever, if you don't ever see that, yourself in that role or in that dress, you don't think it's okay. And so you're right, like that is so hugely important for that to be out there in every capacity, whether it is in, just visually or in music or whatever. And clearly you're an example of that. You were inspired by it and then now wrote a song about that inspiration. Like it's just like that domino effect. So definitely hope that this gets out there for those types of people who maybe are feeling alone or scared or whatever, and that it might make them feel just a little bit better about that.
Yeah, I want to just jump off what you just said, Philip, because I just saw an article today about how Target had to roll back some of their pride stuff in the South, and how a parent called in and said, it actually meant a lot to my queer teen to walk into Target and see that stuff was there and that
Right.
they were okay. That meant everything to them.
Yep.
And now it's got to be taken down. It's just so we all need to see ourselves out there and see that we're okay and that we matter and that people are okay with us.
It is. So here's what I also want to applaud you for in the vision of this piece of art, because I think that one audience member who shared, it didn't hit me until they said it, but here I was only associating Lipstick of the Brave, meaning you were brave to do it. But they talked about like Home of the Brave and the play on those words, that it is a very, very almost patriotic way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the red, white, and blue color theme through the entire piece, that it is a very American, presentation in a country that is doing these things to, and I read this in an article, that this particular moment where trans and gender nonconforming youth across the country are under assault from unnecessary and cruel legislation aimed at policing their gender. Like that was a phrase that you, like a quote from an interview that you had. And I just think that's the other part is like, it's a tough reconciliation to be able to still feel proud about our country and yet still very, very frustrated with it in pieces, I would imagine. And so I just think that's a very, again, brave thing to do, to put it out in that way, because you could be pissed. Like you could have taken totally different angle on things. And so I just, again, I wanted to hear your thoughts on that, perhaps.
Madstone, you want to take that? I have some things to say, but
I do too.
I think you have a lot to say about this.
I'm not a patriot. I'm a they-triot.
Uh-huh.
So, and if that's too corny, oh well.
No, listen.
Spend more time with me. If I could change anything about the song, and Barb always warns, do not think about what you would do if you re-recorded it, because it'll drive you crazy for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
If I could change one thing about the song, it would be the ending. I would say the last line, "We are the lipstick of the brave." But I could say it now. It is, it emerged into exactly what you said, because this is a movement, and we're a part of it, and it matters. But there is anger here,
Oh, for sure.
But I think for me, the thing is, I'm going on stage with Tripping Jupiter. We've got some shows in New York City coming up this summer. And I'm going to look like I look, and it will be fantastic. We walked into a club in New York City the other night, myself, Marie Dragdalin, who sings backup with the band, and one of our community, because Tripping Jupiter is not just a band. And the MC of this piano bar said, "Who are you?" Because we walked in looking fabulous, and they're like, "Who are you?" And I said, "We're Tripping Jupiter." And they said, "Are you a band?" I said, "Yes, and we're a way of life." Because we see what we're doing as really, we're building a community of creative misfits who want to change the world. And we're doing what we can to really, this is an exciting time, right? As bad as the bad stuff is, there's this renaissance and rebirth. And I feel we're on the cusp of it, of creativity in a way that we haven't felt in a while. It was interesting. The song they asked us to sing at the piano bar was Age of Aquarius, Let the Sun Shine In. We are definitely, and for those in the audience, and those are my friends who are more aware of the stars aligning and the planets, they know that there's a shift coming.
Sure.
So better get right, everyone, and be on the right side. And if you don't know what that is, listen to Tripping Jupiter, and we'll let you know.
I just want to say one thing about that. I didn't realize a lot of this philosophy when I first started the project with Madstone. And then as the songs started rolling in, and sometimes you're like halfway through a song, working on a song as a producer, and then you'll be like, "Oh, that's what the artist is saying?" Like sometimes you just kind of go with vibe. A lot of times I try to make sure I know what the lyrics are, but so many of Madstone's lyrics are inclusive and positive and philosophical and all encompassing. Like they just said, it's not just a band, it's a way of life. And Madstone really wants to make sure everyone feels included, and only you can say for yourself if you're Tripping Jupiter, if you're in the fold. You can, nobody else can tell you. You can only.
Are you?
Yeah.
Philip, are you?
Absolutely.
Are you Tripping Jupiter, Philip?
Absolutely.
Okay, you're in. It's that easy. And we don't have monthly dues either.
Yeah. And I think just to kind of put a bow on that part, I think what people may be seeing in the patriotic side of it is people who have in their heart that more American sentiment of, that we are, it's that, everyone isn't supposed to be included. It's supposed to be, give me, you're tired, you're poor, you're disenfranchised. Like it's supposed to be where no matter who you are, whatever walk of life, you're all American and we're all accepted. And then we all kind of band together and figure it out. And I think that's what people are seeing, is that kind of theme.
The ideal.
Yeah, the one
What
that
it
was
should
supposed to be
be.
there. And then there's these other people who are starting to try and put some other label on things and calling that American and just isn't. And I think that's unfortunately what people are up against, what corporations are up against, because you're just trying to do this inclusive thing, and suddenly it turns into some sort of a political statement when it wasn't supposed to be one. So then now you're political when you weren't trying to be. Anyway, the whole point is, there's no reason to not be accepting of people with who they are, their true, genuine selves.
Right.
Simple as
That's
that.
the point. And I mean, that's been the point of music for a long time. Rock and pop music, I guess when rock started 70 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, really, the roots of it started way before. I mean, it was marginalized communities that started rock and roll. And so out of that pain, that struggle,
Yep.
came incredible poetry, incredible, writing, authorship.
Yep.
James Baldwin in the 60s and all. And then, of course, Chuck Berry in the 50s. And
Yep.
Sister Rosetta
Mm-hmm.
Thorpe, my
Yep.
God, playing guitar solos like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa,
Yep.
and so that spirit, if that's America, yes, but also honors to those who, whose backs we built the country on. And,
Mm-hmm.
look, I see myself as a citizen of the world and then the universe. We have a song called We Are Starlight.
And that's a great way. I was going to kind of go there next. So that's a perfect way to go. Yeah.
Oh, good. I've been working on segues. So that actually the video for We Are Starlight was just shown at the Big Apple Film Festival
Yes.
in New York City.
And won awards, right?
I don't know if the awards have come out yet, but it's won awards, yeah.
Yeah.
And if it hasn't, it damn well should soon. But listen, that's another one. Like I just listened the other night to my demo version, which was a very scaled down, simple version of the song. But the melody, the words are strong, and Barb's vision was to make it grand, and it surely is that. But the message of that song is we're literally made of the stuff that came out of stars 10 billion years ago, every single one of us. So this whole idea of what's a nation state, what's a race, none of that really is real.
No.
We are literally children of the stars. And I don't mean that in some weird little woo-woo way. It's just that's physics. And
Sure.
there's no one better than the other.
Right.
So, yeah, but it's also a fun song. It's an anthem. And, it's great to have the ethereal thoughts, but to be able to put them out there. And again, working with an amazing and incredible producer who knows how to communicate that.
Sure. And also amazing musicians. If I understand it right, Gail Ann Dorsey played on that song, who played with David Bowie.
Yeah, David Bowie, I've heard. Yeah. Gail was David Bowie's bass player since the 90s, played on a bunch of albums, toured with him. Also played with Lenny Kravitz, Olivia Newton-John, Gang of Four, and a ton of others. Gail's
B-52s.
Oh, and B-52s.
The National, yeah, a whole bunch of people.
Man, imagine being on stage with the B-52s. So yeah, Gail's a pro, but here's the thing. Gail's a consummate musician. She is an amazing artist, and agreeing to do the work with an independent artist,
right,
with no name, no music out yet.
Right.
She played on 5 songs in our album. What a gift.
Yeah.
And it's funny, and so when people are all about the music.
Right.
But you listen to like a song like We Are Starlight, that bass at the beginning, what she did is just just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's magic.
When I saw her, we did this all virtually.
Yeah.
So when I met Gail in person for the first time at the Bowie tribute in New York City in January, of course, during the intermission, I just said, listen, I just want to give you thanks for what you did. And we hugged, and it was really nice. And Gail said, thank you for letting me play on your record.
Wow.
Who says that? You know what? A musician, someone who loves it. So having someone of her caliber, Barb's production, and all the other people in the production team, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, you can't really ignore the universe just really coming together on this stuff. Like, I'll be frou-frou if you weren't before. This is not just physical, but this is like the universe giving you, a yes from Bill Plympton and a yes from Gaylan Dorsey, and obviously Barb's brilliance there, and like it's just everything pointing to the fact that there's something special going on here.
Yes.
Yeah, and the rest of our team on it. I mean, we had Jeremy Kinney, who
Yeah.
just worked with Tokyo Hotel and Fletcher. We had John Jetter, who mixed it, and he's done. Oh my God, he's done so much stuff. He just did a Black Bear song. He's done Jonas Brothers. He's done everything, every kind of thing you can think of. He's done
Jonas Brothers.
And then
I wanted to be a Jonas Brother.
And then we had Brian Lucy, who is just amazing. He mastered the record. He's done Lizzo. He's done he's done everything from Lizzo to In the Heights to I mean, he's just
The Greatest Showman. I think he mastered the Greatest Showman soundtrack, which is actually wonderful.
Yeah.
And won Grammys for that.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite, like, cool little somewhat underground bands, he mastered a Cage the Elephant.
Oh wow.
Record. I love them.
Yeah.
So really, Philip, we had like, heavy hitters on this, and everybody took a chance on Madstone because, like Madstone said, they didn't have any music out. They were a brand new artist. Everybody was just like, did the same thing I did, which was heard it and went, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is great.
Awesome.
You don't usually get that in the industry with like the people that are working,
for sure.
The big jobs,
Usually, yeah, absolutely. Totally get that. But we will link to all of these elements, whether it's the website, the YouTube channel, the different social medias, different ways that people can access your work, the full album, and then also any other ways that they might be able to catch it at a festival coming up. But anything else to promote here at the end?
Anybody who wants to see this experience live, because it is quite the visual and sonic package, we're going to be at Rockwood Music Hall June 18th in New York City. And we're going to be at the Delancey in New York City on July 21st. And we're booking other gigs, and we're going to be getting out of the tri-state area as well.
Yeah.
So that's happening. I've got, we've got like 7 songs already recorded, preliminary recordings for the second record.
Nice.
I will tell you, I am so excited about that one, and there's a special treat on it because we're working with this other emerging artist, Katrina Weidman, who's got an incredible voice and in her own right is an amazing songwriter. She's just starting to come out with music. Barb's producing Katrina. And Katrina also is a paranormal investigator who had a show on Discovery or Discover. I always mix it up with Jack Osborne, Ozzy's son, called Portals to Hell.
It's
and
awesome.
anytime I mention that, I'm
Sounds
like,
amazing.
It is great. They had 2 seasons, and I still cannot watch it before I go to sleep. That freaks me out. But Katrina's an incredible vocalist. She lent vocals to 2 of the songs on the upcoming record. We're excited. What we're doing now is promoting this live. Let these songs get a life of their own in front of live audiences, because that's where music lives, in my heart.
Agreed.
And in front of people. So.
Agreed. Well, Madstone, Barb, really thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for sharing the stories and for putting this wonderful art and this great vision out there for people to kind of observe and again, hopefully unlock some things for some people so that they don't, feel quite as alone. And can't wait to check out a Tripping Jupiter performance in the future. That sounds like something that I definitely won't want to miss out on.
We'd love to come to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we definitely got to make that happen.
But I think based on the name of this podcast, your next favorite band could very well be Tripping Jupiter.
It absolutely
just don't know
will
it
be.
yet, so check out our music.
It absolutely will be. Well, you're now, from this point going forward, a favorite. You're no longer a next favorite.
Thanks, Philip.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And excited to be at the SouthSide Film Festival. There's a lot of great films going on there, so it is an honor to be there. We're really excited.
We're very proud of it, and it is a great job that they do, and I'm now just honored to be a part of kind of sharing some of the pre-stories of the music-related entries. And so hopefully everybody gets a chance who is within reach of Bethlehem will come out next week to be able to enjoy some of the films. And if you do, come by and say hi.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Philip.
Thank you. Bye.